Cut!
Cut! And action!
Yes. Hey, how's it going? I'm Lize.
I'm Lize.
Hi.
Nice
Very nice
to
to meet you. Likewise.
How are you doing?
Good. Talk to you today. So we got a brilliant day to do this interview today. Are you excited just as what I am?
Yes, I am.
Cool, let's go.
Awesome.
I'm kind of like looking forward to this training we're about to have.
Yeah, me too. How about we add some steaks?
I had steak last night.
No, not that kind of steak. How about the loser has to wear one of my vintage blouses?
I don't lose. You lose into the pond.
What? You're going down? So you didn't actually mention, what is this challenge?
It's a no-laugh challenge. I'll tell you a joke, you tell me one, the one that laughs the most loses.
Cool, you're going down.
No chance in hell I'm losing today.
What does a house wear?
No.
A dress.
Why was the man fired from the orange juice factory?
I don't know.
He couldn't concentrate.
I thought you're supposed to make me laugh.
Cool. Ek het rarig maar dit is baie funny. So, I'm assuming if I laugh again now, then it's the dress.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
I would tell you a chemistry joke right now, but I wouldn't get a reaction.
Did you hear about the kidnapping at school?
No.
It's fine, he woke up.
Here we go. One of my original vintage blouses with a little bit of beading and bling, which I'm sure will look beautiful on you.
I seriously doubt that. Good job.
Here we
Since
go.
I've lost, I suppose, no turning back. Here you go. Using sucks big time. Oh. Shoulder pads. Are you joking? Dit is so verkeerd.
Really suits you.
My grandmother will turn in her grave.
I'm sure she'd say that you're a fabulous style.
Oh, no.
Need some roughly. Here we go. Beautiful.
Joke.
All aboard!
I would so love a cup of coffee right now. Dude, where's this coffee?
Lize, thank you so much for joining us on our program called watsjouvice. We obviously we like to have interviews with people that has their own businesses, and the purpose of that is to give the advice from you over to our viewers. So tell us a bit about your business, where you started and what you do.
Cool. So yeah, my name is Lize van Merwe, and I'm the owner of Lize Vintage, which is an online vintage clothing boutique. So I specialize in vintage clothing, handbags, jewelry, accessories, and this year I also decided to branch out into my own designs, which are brand new, locally manufactured, vintage inspired dresses.
Yes.
So that's basically what I do, and I post all over South Africa, and I have clients all over the country. Yeah.
Fantastic, that's great. What was your driving force into becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. So my father always encouraged my brother and I from a very young age to have a little side hustle. So I used to do entrepreneurs days and market days at school because we didn't get an allowance. So I had to make my own money, or my dad would actually pay us to read books. He'd give us pocket money to read books. So that, from the beginning, my dad's mindset towards making money and being independent, that he instilled in us from a very young age. And so I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And then I decided to start my business, Lize Vintage, when I was in my first year at Stellenbosch University. I was studying psychology, and you know, being a broke student, and you know, like, you just don't have money generally.
Yes.
So because I was at university on a bursary, I couldn't just go and get a job or become a waitress or something. I had to make a plan to pay my own way.
Yes.
So that's when I just started selling like my own vintage clothing and handbags, actually on Bid or Buy, and it just took off completely. And then I decided to continue with it. I got my degree in 2014, and then I just decided to carry on.
Fantastic. How did you raise funds for your venture?
Well, I started very, very small. So I started with selling my own handbags and my own clothing, and also on Bid or Buy, which was free to list.
Yes.
But I literally started buying stock with, I got 150 Rand loan from a friend. And I just started going to the secondhand shops, and I bought in a few things and took photos at home, put it online, and they just started selling. And then from there, everything that I made, I just reinvested back into the business. So I just bootstrapped the whole way. And to this day, I have not taken out any kind of loans or external funding for my project, and it's been going on since 2010.
That's brilliant. I like the way that you say that you basically reinvested, because a lot of people, when they start a business and they start getting financial freedom in a sense, then they abuse it. Now they haven't had anything, but now they've got plenty, so now they don't see it the way that you have, and that's a very, very good point that you made.
Definitely. Like, I always try to live below my means.
Yes.
And any profits that I get in, first and foremost, I need to make sure that my business is taken care of. You know, obviously you've got to pay the bills, you got to make sure that your basic costs are covered, but always try to live frugally and reinvest as much as you can, because that compounding interest that compounding investment, that's what's going to give you long-term success.
Absolutely. What platforms do you find is the best way to market your business?
Well, for me, because I'm an online-based business, of course I have to have a really good presence online. So I have my own e-commerce store, lizevintage.com, and then I use all the social media platforms. So Instagram is big, Facebook is big, and I use ads on Facebook and Instagram as well.
What motivates you?
For me, my biggest motivation is just to be independent and to make my own way in life. Because growing up, things were never just handed to me or given to me. I've always had to be proactive and work for what I want. And that is one of my passions, is female entrepreneurship, female empowerment, supporting small businesses, small industries. Those are things that I'm really, really passionate about. So what motivates me is the privilege of being my own boss, and how grateful I am every day to get up and be able to do what I want, make my own schedule, and enjoy every moment of it.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, and what do you do to stay one step ahead of your competitors? As you said, your business is online, and obviously everything nowadays is online. So what do you do to distinguish your business from any other?
Well, because I've been going since 2010, I've developed a very loyal and strong clientele that has supported me through the years. And people know that I provide really good, fast service, and customer service is my #1 priority.
Yes.
And of course, I have high quality, hand selected products.
Like the ones I'm wearing now.
Yes, like this beautiful blouse on you, which is currently for sale. So you better not mess it up. Yeah, but so, what was the question?
How do you handle low or no cash flow?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, you really have to live below your means. And you have to make sure that any money that is coming in, you reinvest into your business.
Yeah.
Now, what is most important though is, as an entrepreneur, we choose to live this lifestyle.
Yeah.
We choose to be our own bosses, and it's not always going to be smooth sailing. You're going to have your ups and downs, and it's never predictable.
Yeah.
One month could be brilliant, another month could be bad. So you need to make sure that you always have a bit of a safety net in terms of savings and other investments, or you could maybe even have multiple revenue streams if you want to, instead of having all your eggs in one basket, maybe have a few projects going all at once before committing to, you know, putting all of your efforts and money into one project. And so basically what I would say the main thing is actually to really manage your mind, because you need to learn how to stay calm under pressure.
Yes.
And not let the changing markets and varying, you know, the ebbs and flows, not let that affect you on an emotional level, because you can't act from a place of emotion or desperation. You need to keep calm, have your plan, and simply execute it.
Yeah. Something that you mentioned now, it's something that obviously I interview a lot of people, and something that I pick up that everybody says is multiple streams of income.
Yes.
And that's just a fabulous way of making sure, like you say, when you plan to do something, that you don't put all your eggs in that particular basket, that should that fail, you still have a backing for you to come back
like maybe you have a day job and you're trying to start a side hustle. Just start small on the side for now. You don't have to do the glamorous thing of quitting your job, standing on a table and saying, I'm out of here, you know, and putting all of your eggs into one basket and trying to be an entrepreneur with nothing.
No, that makes sense.
You have to be realistic, and you have to start somewhere. Because everybody always wants quick results, overnight success, but that is unfortunately 99% of the time not the case.
Absolutely.
So you have to start small and see, once you cannot keep up with the demand, or you simply cannot perform your duties well enough because you have just too much going on your plate, then you can start thinking about phasing out your day job and going into your side hustle full time.
Fantastic answer. Okay, next question is, what was your biggest business failure and what did you learn from that?
You know, my biggest failure actually was not launching my own e-commerce platform soon enough. So I carried on selling on Bid or Buy from 2010 until the beginning of this year. Which sounds crazy, but because it was safe, because I knew the platform was there, the traffic was there. So at the beginning of this year, I decided the way that I'm really going to take my business to the next level is to have my own presence online. My own dedicated store. But once I launched that, the response was absolutely mind-blowing, and business has never been better.
That's fantastic.
So if the one thing that I learned from that is take bigger risks. You know, you've got to be careful, and you've got to, you know, be be cautious, but also don't self-sabotage.
Yes.
So
yes.
take risks where they are warranted.
Yes, correct. Denzel Washington once said, when you fail big.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you were just saying.
Yeah. But not too big.
No.
You still got to pay your bills.
Absolutely. Who did you consult before you started your business?
Well, I never consulted any business professionals per se, but my dad always has been my biggest inspiration in terms of entrepreneurship. And he gave me a lot of advice growing up, and he really just instilled the mindset of an entrepreneur in me. And also my brother, because he also actually had a little book business on Whittleby, and so that's why I started selling.
Yes.
And so he knew a lot of the technical stuff, and he'd already like been there, done that, so he could give me a lot of advice on marketing and how to run an online store. So he's been my saving grace. I go to him a lot. He's probably very annoyed with me by now.
That kind of like flows over into my next question, which is, do you have any mentors, and do you listen or watch any audio or podcasts or YouTube videos to basically give you advice?
Well, my biggest mentor would be my father, who unfortunately tragically passed away in 2014 from a heart attack. But he was my biggest supporter, my go-to for any kind of advice, and he always had the best advice to give us. And also my brother, he's an absolute genius, and he's a life coach now actually. And he is so motivating. And anytime I'm feeling down or doubting myself, or I don't know how to handle a situation, I can always go to him because he always has the best advice. And you mentioned podcasts. I am absolutely obsessed with podcasts. Like, I listen to podcasts every single day. And I love books as well.
What
I'm a huge
podcasts
reader.
do you listen to?
So I'm a huge fan of Tim Ferriss, who wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, also a really good book. So I listen to his podcast a lot, and then I also listen to a podcast called The Life Coach School with Rick Castillo, and that's a lot of the mental game. How to handle your thoughts, which create your emotions, which create your actions, which create your results. So it all comes down to managing your mind and having a good mindset in place, because without a mindset, you are not going to survive, especially with all the ups and downs of having your own business.
For sure. What is a non-negotiable for you?
In terms of?
Business.
For me, a non-negotiable is actually having a solid foundation of health and mental well-being. So for me, I take care of my body first and foremost. I make sure that I go to the gym, I eat healthily, and manage the mental aspect as well. So self-care is really important to me, so that I'm always making sure that I am filling myself first, because you cannot pour from an empty cup.
No.
So you need to make sure that you aren't sacrificing your health or your mental well-being for short-term success. Because if you have a poor mindset or poor health, the rest of your life will be poor too. So that for me is an absolute non-negotiable.
Okay. If you had to start all over again, what would you do differently?
Well, I guess that draws back into my into a previous question, that I would definitely launch my own online store sooner. And I would just take bigger risks, really.
Tell us something about you that nobody knows of.
Well, honestly, I don't think that there's something that nobody knows about me, because I'm an absolute open book and oversharer. So my family knows absolutely everything about me, and my boyfriend, like, I'm always confiding in them, maybe oversharing a little bit. I'm an open book.
No, that's cool. Okay, now the very last thing that I'd like you to do, other than the questions that I have asked, what 3 key points would you like to leave with the viewers from your perspective, what you feel is important for someone wanting to start their own business, or even changing their business slightly to make it work more effectively?
Okay, well, number one, I would say find your niche. There's this principle called the 1,000 True Fans principle, and basically, I heard about it on Tim Ferriss's podcast. Rather have 1,000 true fans who really support what you're doing and get what you're doing and will support you through everything and buy your products always, than have 1 million people who are like, it's okay.
Yes.
So don't be everybody's cup of tea. You don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. You want to have 1,000 or even fewer, depending on what kind of industry you're in or what product you have. Rather have a small select group of niche people that are really into what you're doing.
Yes.
So that's the first one. Number two, something that my dad taught me was to have a short and a medium and a long-term plan, and basically divide those up into smaller goals. So you have your long-term vision for the
almost
future.
Like daily goals.
You have your long-term vision of where you see yourself, what you want to create, what impact you want to have on the world. And that can sometimes seem really daunting. It can seem so far away. Like, I want to change the world. Okay, how? You've got to start somewhere.
Correct.
So break that up into your short-term, your medium-term, and your long-term plans. And then break those down into different milestones and goals. So you have your 6-month milestone. Once I've achieved this, then I will know I'm on track. And then you have your daily goals. And you basically schedule everything. You schedule what you're going to be doing, when and how and where, and always make sure that you know what the plan is. And then literally every day you wake up, you look in your diary, and you just do it. So have your plan, have your goals, and then have your actions that you just execute.
Fantastic.
Thirdly is to realize that success, long-term success, is essentially a series of successful days.
Yes,
so
I like
you
that.
need to work to make every day successful. There won't be one single day that you'll be able to remember, that day when I sent that email, that totally changed my business or changed my life. It's every day, the small actions that you take that add up, that compound to bring you that long-term success. And then after a year or 2 years or 3 years, you're like, wow, I've come so far. And the way that I did it was just by doing what I needed to do every day. So just make sure that you make the most out of every day and just keep at it.
Fantastic. Lisa, thank you so much. I really did take a lot out of this, and I'm sure our viewers as well.
And
it's actually so amazing to have the opportunity sitting in this seat, speaking to every single person on a daily basis, finding out what they do to make their business works, because it's such valuable information, and I really hope that the people looking at this will actually take heed of what you just said, and everyone else, because that can honestly change your business. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Cut. Why? Why am I like this?